If I don't take any shots, I'm not going to score any points. Business is an infinite game. You don't have to score all your points in one game, or you don't have to succeed in every business. You only have to score once. So if you just take a ton of shots, you will make one.
With your like personal outlook, a little bit broader with regards to money, I know you've always had this like abundance mindset for money ever since you were a kid. And something that I struggle with that I think is one of your biggest strengths is that you're able to spend money super easily, knowing that it'll come back to you tenfold, right? How can people cultivate that mindset on their own? And how important has that been to your financial success?
Yeah, I think it's been everything to my financial success. Like, I think part of the reason is that I don't spend money on like dumb shit. I don't buy designer. I don't buy watches. I don't buy anything crazy. I don't buy cool cars. So the only thing I spend abundantly on is experiences, travel, and business. So when it comes to those three things, I'm all in. It's the only thing I spend money on. So I think from day one, I just always was like, I need to risk it for the biscuit. Like, I need to create my own luck. This has been like one of my mottos for a long time, is create your own luck. It's like, I can't, if I don't take any shots, I'm not gonna score any points. So my philosophy has always been is I got to take as many shots as I know. I'm not Elon Musk level genius. I know I'm not even the hardest worker. So if I'm not the best at any of those things, then I can just take enough shots to score a lot of points. Like, business is an infinite game. You don't have to score all your points in one game, or you don't have to succeed in every business. You only have to score once, right? So if you just take a ton of shots, you will make one, right? So that was always my philosophy. And I treated that, I've done it so many times, had like 15 businesses. And then when I even got into crypto and stuff, like, which was one of my first big wins, is like, I remember making like 50 grand one day, and I just reinvested like 40. Like, how many people would do that? Nobody. They would like withdraw 40 and then reinvest 10. No, I took 50 and reinvested like 48. It was crazy. So I think that's been a huge part of my success, which is, and I also just bought every course. Like, I'm so abundant with buying courses and stuff just to try and learn one thing. So I think it's helped and compound enough knowledge to the point where I kind of got to a point where it's like, I can't even physically fail. Like, you just have so much.
That last point you made about courses, I want you to talk a little bit about your networking strategy, how you try to get close to people that are influential that you admire. Can you expand a little bit about how you do that with regards to courses?
Yeah, especially when, I didn't really have anything to offer. They always say the number one networking tip was always, and this has always been the same advice, and it still is the same advice, but it's like, you have to provide value. But at a certain level, when you're at level zero, you're more annoying trying to provide value than anything. Like, if somebody DMs me, it's like, I want to give you, free videos. Most of the time, I'm just like, that's more work for me than it's worth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want your free videos because I have to give you my attention. So at that point, it's like, now what? If you can't even give someone something for free, which is like zero, how can you give value to someone if they won't even take it for free? So you have to go lower, which is negative. So you have to give them money. So I was like, okay, I have literally negative to offer, so I'm going to buy their stuff. And I've done this multiple times, is buying people's courses, and of course they're appreciative of it, and I get something out of it. So like, I get the value of the course and the value of access to them. And then the second stud of that is that not only do you buy someone's course or community or something, you actually do the work when you get it and kind of become their star student. And naturally, when you become someone's star student, they want to show you off. They want to show you off. They want to make you their testimonial. They want to make you their case study. They want to bring you on their YouTube channel, and you get free exposure. So that was kind of my philosophy after years of failing. I used to buy courses, not talk to the founder, not talk to anybody in the course, not do the work, and then just move on to the next course. That's how I treated it for about 3 years. And then that's when it kind of clicked with me. It's like, I could buy the course and network with this person and maybe be their friend if I get along with them. And it kind of worked out. So I just kept doing it. And I kept being people's star students. And you make money, you make relationships, and you get the value back. So it's kind of like a networking hack.
Yeah, and you've particularly done that with JK Molina, and you've become kind of a lot of what you were saying there, I think, is you were explaining your experience with him and his community. Can you talk about some of the specific things you did? Like, I know he would have like Zoom calls, and you were just like, hey, I know that he needs engagement, so let me be asking questions. Like, there are tactical things that you did to really like bring value to him, right?
Yeah, well, I'll talk both examples. Like, it's funny because my if not, yeah, my two basically closest friends in business right now are my friend Don Vo and my friend JK Molina. But both, I did the exact same thing for both. So for JK, right, I bought his course, or his community. At the time, it was like $50 a month. And not only did he need people to engage in the community to make it active, but like you, everyone, I mean, not everyone, but like, yeah, pretty much everyone's been in a Zoom call, right? Where no one's talking. Or like the guy who's leading the Zoom is like, does anyone have any questions? And then no one has a question. It's so annoying. So I just wanted to be the guy who always had a question because it's just familiarizing your face. And it also, they appreciate it. They're like, thank you for speaking because you're making this an engaging conversation. And often once one person asks a question, other people ask a question. So I would show up to all the weekly webinars or Zoom calls or whatever you want to call them, and I would participate basically, and that's it. And, as a matter of fact, when you're the one who participates the most, you usually get the best results. You're actually active in the community, asking questions, being an active member. You usually get the best results as well because you're being accountable. So it was kind of a ripple effect, and everything just started piling on top of each other. And I started to actually succeed while I was doing that. So then it kind of worked out that way, and became his testimonial, blah, blah, blah. And then we ended up just becoming friends.
Yeah, now you guys have a podcast together and it's like a whole thing. And I experienced something similar with Alex Finn, where I got in his community for like $5 a month and just started going in his video chat every single day, talking to the community, bringing value, like having conversations with people, attending all of the weekly calls. And then eventually, we're doing all kinds of shows together or whatever it may be. And yeah, there's a ton of value in that. Find people that you respect. That's one thing about the creator economy, right? Is we have access to these people for very low amounts of money. If you think about anyone that you would admire in the business world, it's like you have no chance of getting in contact with Elon or Jeff Bezos or something like that. Obviously, that's an extreme. But like if there are some of these big shots on Twitter, for instance, you can spend a little bit of money, a couple $100 maybe, and or even less, and get into their like monthly subscription communities and start interacting, bringing value, and then all of a sudden they're putting you on. So to that note, I'm curious how you think about the future of X, everything Elon's doing to uh, create a financial application is really what it seems like he's gearing up towards, but they're going to be adding more video and it's the everything app, quote unquote, is kind of the vision. Where do you see that going? And then further, like, what is the upside, in your opinion, of having influence and a personal brand in the digital world that we're going forward into?
Yeah, I'm obviously bullish on X. Like an X agency, I'm probably one of the only X only agencies that are even out there, and I think part of that was first movers advantage, which is nice. I'm bullish on it because I love the idea of the everything app. When I was in Singapore, I remember being in an Uber and it had the QR code to pay for the Uber using WeChat. Imagine I could be in an Uber and I could pay with Twitter or X, right? I could just scan my X and pay, boom, done. Or I could pay with Bitcoin, boom, done. Or Doge, boom, done. That's where it kind of clicked with me. I was like, if I could do that, there's so much more you can do. You could pay in the DMs. You could have subscribers. You could have ad revenue. And they started adding those things. Now they've added live streaming and they're adding video ads. And there's so much that they're adding. It's truly becoming the everything app. And with payments, it's going to be a trading institution. There's going to be so many little things that are making it so big. And this is why it's growing so fast. So that being said, I think it's important to have influence on this app because if everyone's going to be flocking to this, like my bull case is that in 10 years, this is the biggest social media platform. And if that holds true, especially with the integration of Web3, if Web3 gets really popular and X gets really popular, there's a ton of integration there. You want to have eyeballs on the biggest app or on the biggest eyeball location. So for me, it's kind of like having digital real estate. So it's important to have a following, which is why I never discount the fact that we want to build followings and brands for our clients, because ultimately that's the long term play. But we also want to do it in a cash flow positive way, which is why I focus on sales.
Yeah. So I think, this is why everyone's here, right? Is we're all here to kind of like build our brands up, and that lead to business. But ultimately, if you have the brand, you can change the business, right? If you have the eyeballs and the attention and people care about you, then that's what gives you that freedom that you touched on earlier. It's something that I'm really focused on as well, as helping people with that. So, Marcos, I'm super grateful you came on the show. I am a big fan of yours. I love what you're doing with every part of your business. I like, just how young you are. It's amazing to see kind of the quick progression you've gone through, the way you like latch on to trends and to just the nuances of how business works. You're not really attached to like one thing. You're just always experimenting, and you're so open with your knowledge as well. And I'm excited for you and your girlfriend as things go forward, because that's definitely something I'm looking forward to, like to having, is something, a similar dynamic to you. So I look up to you in a lot of ways, man, and I'm grateful that you came on the show. So I'd love for you to, if you can, if you have any words of encouragement for up and coming content creators, and just maybe something that's been on your mind that has helped you, and then where people can find you online to connect.
Yeah, I think like, the biggest piece of advice, and this is kind of a new piece of advice that I have, is just don't be afraid to. It's funny. It's like, what is it? Chamath that said it. Get in the arena and try things. It's like, don't be afraid to experiment, and don't be afraid to go against the grain with the things that you're doing. I think a lot of the tactics that you're typically going to see are either going to be old or kind of ineffective. I think don't be afraid to do the dirty work. Don't be afraid to try to get on the Spaces floor. Don't be afraid to try to be the first one to reply to Elon Musk tweet. You got to get gritty, and you got to get down and dirty if you want to kind of rise through the ranks. Like, you like buy the courses and become the star student. Get on the Twitter Space floor and say something crazy. Be the first one to reply on the big accounts. You got to do that dirty work, and I think that gets discounted a lot for people growing on X. And where you can find me is it's Marcos Ruiz on all platforms, and thebirdhouse.co.
Awesome. We'll have those links in the description. Marcos, thank you, brother. I appreciate your time, and talk soon.
Cheers.